Hey guys, Dan here. In this video, I'm going to go over 5 recent Itchio horror games that topped the charts. You may have heard of some of them, and each is definitely worth taking a look at. I've made video playthroughs of each one if you're interested, but here I wanted to talk a bit about the games and give my thoughts and basically review each one. I had a lot of fun with these. They are all super scary in their own right, and they're all very different from each other, so I think it's a good mix. Anyway, without further ado, let's get started. First up, we have KIOSK by Vivi. So this is another one of those games where you play as an employee and you have to complete various tasks over the course of the game as part of your workload. In this particular instance, we're a line cook, I guess you could say, at a late night food kiosk. Let me start by saying I love the art style here. It's my favorite, the creepy PS1 blocky style that's now becoming all the rage again. It's funny how that's back in fashion now. Well, it makes me wonder how long before it'll be downtrending. Anyway, another thing I like is how the story slowly unfolds. Each night, our character is harassed by an unknown perpetrator as well as ghostly visions. And before long, it's obvious something bad is coming and we're not sure what it's going to be, but the suspense slowly builds and so does the terror. A lot of players, I noticed when I was reading the comments on the itch page, a lot of players are simply loving the concept of making burgers and hot dogs to order. Sometimes it's a burger with ketchup and cheese, sometimes it's a hot dog with mustard and lettuce, etc., etc. There's also requests for soda, coffee, and beer too. And yeah, that gameplay loop is oddly satisfying. You get so involved with completing each customer's order, and the way the mechanics work, it's kind of funny too because you'll accidentally throw the burger patties on the floor and ketchup bottle, and it becomes kind of a big mess, and you end up laughing at yourself. It can certainly relieve the tension, but don't forget, it's still a horror game, and crazy weird things are still going to happen. And yeah, the game lasts for about 30 minutes, but it goes by pretty quickly. You're kept busy throughout, and the finale is definitely not what anyone would suspect. All in all, a great job by Vivi, the developer. This one has been at the top of the Itchio charts for more than a minute, and if you play it, you'll definitely see why. This is an interesting one, to say the least. It's The Dog by Ship's Captain, and in this game, we play as a father and husband. And when it starts off, we're eating pancakes for breakfast with our family. We're at home, we're all sitting around the kitchen table. It's a beautiful day outside. All is well, sorta. Our peaceful breakfast is constantly being interrupted by something trying the doorknob from behind the basement door. Something keeps attempting to come up through the basement. It's like it's shaking the door handle. Now, our character tries to play it off, saying it's just the dog, but come on, that doesn't make any sense. I can't imagine a dog. Well, I suppose it's possible, but no. When you're playing it, you get this nagging suspicion that there's something else behind that door. And that becomes the focal point of the plot of the game. And before anything else can happen, that first scene concludes. Okay, the next scene. Later that morning, we answer a knock at the door and yada yada yada, the dog is still rattling the doorknob behind us, trying to get inside. Now, I'm putting dog in quotation marks here because at this point, it's still unclear what's really happening. That's all I'll say about the plot because I don't want to spoil it for you, but there's a few more scenes and the finale is pretty mind-bending and open to interpretation. And this is where the game gets philosophical and you kind of have to put on your thinking cap because at this point, you as the player need to decide what it all means. For me, it seems to be a statement on what some might see as the hollow existence of suburban life and its underlying miseries. I don't know, that's just my interpretation. You'll have to play it for yourself and then tell me what you think was really going on. But yeah, it's a pretty fascinating game, one that will leave you thinking long after it's over. So, good job, Ship's Captain. Okay, Rented Nightmare by Atmopixel. In this game, We're a guy, a gal, I can't remember, but we're traveling across the country to visit our girlfriend. We're in some kind of long-distance relationship, and our anniversary is coming up, so we hop off the bus to stay the night in a cottage rental. And the plan is to grab the next bus in the morning. So yeah, that's the plot setup. We've rented a trailer with the usual amenities. We've got a bathroom, a kitchenette, a TV, and a bed. We meet the owner's brother, who lets us know he's available if we need anything else. He lives a few cottages over. Everything's hunky-dory, everything seems on the up and up. You can explore a little bit, but there's really not that much to look at. The game prompts you to take each action, meaning put your backpack away, go to the bathroom, heat up a pizza, that sort of thing. It's a pretty simple setup, and once we get tired and change into our jammy jams, it's time to sleep. And naturally, this is when the horror begins. So night falls, and it's soon apparent that something is amiss. The rest of the game plays out, and by the end, we've experienced a few jump scares. Well, actually, a couple of really good jump scares. And then there's a pretty crazy plot twist. But still, it left me wishing there was more to it. More characters to interact with, more places in the area to explore, and maybe some more story. I did enjoy the look of the game, and it does have some inspired music choices. Actually, the first minute of the game, the opening scene is very well done. It's like the start of a movie. It's very cinematic. But this kind of story needed to be longer, I think. If it had one or two more scenes in the middle to add to the suspense, that would have gone a long way. But having said that, the developer shows a lot of potential, and as prolific as they are, I mean, if you look at their page, they make games pretty much on the reg. I expect that they'll keep improving more and more with each release, so check it out and see what you think. Egg Fried Rice was made by Grainwood Games, and let me tell you, I had a blast playing this one. It's full of creepy moments, it's suspenseful throughout. I like the graphics, the gameplay, it's got a scary antagonist. What else? It has several different endings to try for. So first, let's talk about the plot. It's really simple, kind of funny even. It starts off and we're lying in bed. We can't get to sleep. We try and we try, but we're just too hungry. We need food. So our character hops out of bed and we venture into the kitchen, but lo and behold, there is no food anywhere. So what are we going to do? Well, a quick glance at a Chinese takeout menu gives us the tasty solution to our problem. We leave the house to drive and get our food, but we have no idea what's in store for us. Thus begins the horror odyssey of Egg Fried Rice. A lot happens, and I think it's neat that there's a few occasions in the game where we get behind the wheel of a car and we have to drive. That's a cool gameplay mechanic. There are a few locations to check out. There's our house, there's the road to the downtown area of the city, there's the somewhat hidden forest path. It's kind of like a back way to downtown. A couple of alleyways with odd characters to speak with. The developer made sure to include lots of things to look at and stuff to interact with. And I think that's important, and a lot of beginning developers forget to do that, it seems. It's a common pitfall, because adding lots of visual details and giving players plenty of things to click on kind of rounds out the gaming experience and helps to add to the immersion. Another thing, and I briefly mentioned it a minute ago, is this game offers replay value, simply because there are multiple endings. So you want to make different choices just so you can see what happens, like, do I answer the phone or just let it ring? Our choices matter in this game, and that's something else that's important. It gives the player agency, and that, I think, goes a long way. So is this game scary? Well, yes, very, very scary. There's a stalker killer that we must avoid, and if you read the newspaper in the restaurant, you'll get some backstory on his murderous activities. See, that's what I mean. If you don't think to click on the newspaper, you might miss out on some important details. And so it pays to be observant in this game. Anyway, I loved it, and it's pretty popular on Itch right now, so definitely give it a go. You won't be disappointed. I'm going to end the video on this one, Clap Clap by Ray Castley Games. This is by far the most popular of the 5 games I chose here. It was #1 in top games tagged horror on Itchio for quite a while, and I just looked and it's still up there. This one has garnered lots of praise simply because it's so well done. It's terrifying, first of all. We play as, well, our character has been put in charge of taking care of someone's house while they're away. We arrive at the neighborhood at night, we speak to a neighbor, he points the way to our destination. Once we're at the house, there's a list on the refrigerator of menial tasks we're expected to perform, like watering the plants and whatnot. Now, a major concept in this game is what's called the Clap Clap Home Surveillance System. It's a security apparatus for the lights in the house, where for convenience sake you operate them by clapping them on and off, and the clapping becomes the primary gameplay mechanic. Unfortunately, the system can easily be manipulated and taken advantage of by any clever home invader. I can't believe the security company didn't think of that when they created it. Anyway, before long, sure enough, we are harassed by some unknown intruder hell-bent on frightening us to death. The rest of the game becomes a harrowing cat and mouse chase throughout the property, upstairs, downstairs, the garage, you name it. And like I said, it's utterly terrifying. The bad guy is relentless, and it's funny, he moves in this super creepy way. You'll have to see it for yourself. The ending is also really cool. It sheds more light on the background of the story. I don't want to give it away, but it's pretty shocking. Play this game if you haven't already. It's so good, I promise. And there you have it. 5 recent Itchio horror games that have topped the charts and are all well worth your time to discover. If for some reason you can't play them yourself, just check my channel. Like I mentioned before, I have a video playthrough for each of them. But yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you next time.